welcome to ClausenWorld. The storm last night, the hurricane and vicious thunderstorm has created so much destruction in the garden. But I am out this morning, not dressed to be out, but I am out, and I am taking this elderberry, and I have decided to see if I can create additional elderberry trees. Actually, these are bushes, elderberry bushes from what was destroyed off of my plant. So I have been out here this morning collecting all of the little bits and pieces that were on the ground, and I am taking a pencil, my handy dandy tool, and some rooting hormone, and I'm trying to see if I can salvage any of these elderberries. I don't know if I can or not, but you don't know until you try. And from what I've been experiencing from my own elderberry, they are pretty resilient little plants, little bushes. Here I am sticking rooting hormone. See, my mind, I'm trying to hurry up and get in the house before my neighbors really catch a sight of me. So I had a bucket in the house that I was going to put something else in, and I said, no, let me take this bucket outside and let me use it for this elderberry project. My sister was telling me that one of her friends had given her some elderberry seeds, and I was like, oh, I don't know anything about elderberry seeds. I'm sure they are. There are people who grow elderberry from seeds. I don't know enough about it to say one way or the other if it'll work. But I figured, okay, if I can get these to grow, I can give them to my sister and her friend. So I am just out here taking some of these leaves off this elderberry. You don't want too many leaves on your cuttings, or it won't it won't grow root. But I am putting a number of them in here, so we shall see how this works out. But my mind just immediately jumped into, ooh, I can salvage that. I might be able to create me some more elderberry plants. I might be able to make a couple of dollars. There's so much out there that you cannot buy right now. And I know I've heard that elderberry is one of them. And I was blessed enough to jump on getting some elderberry early this year. I was looking at it in the catalog during the fall season, and I made my purchase, and they got here, when did they get here? I don't even know what month we're in now. I want to say they came to me in March time frame. This one's a little wilty, so I don't know how this is going to work, but that's okay. And so I put my two little elderberry sticks in a pot, and before I knew it, they had grown. And this is just a flower. I don't believe it's going to do anything, but I like to see if stuff will work. So I'm going to put it in here anyway. And it's wilty, but I'm going to put it in here. And so now I'm just going to firm all of these in, and I'm going to let this sit out here outside. It's already acclimated to being outside, so I'm going to leave it outside. I'm just going to put it over here by its mother plant and let the mother plant shade it, and I'm just going to check on it. And I'm going to top this off with some vermiculite. There's already vermiculite in this soil, but I'm going to top the top of it with vermiculite, and I'm going to let it be. and see how many of these actually germinate and how many elderberry bushes I can get off of this. And so that is what I'm doing this morning after such a vicious storm. Cut me off, but the elderberry has been potted up and it's starting to warm up out here because it's early in the morning. I will be back out in the garden this evening and I'll show you guys what I'm getting up to. Good evening. Welcome back to the garden. I have finally made it back into the garden and I've done a little assessment. The weather last night really took a toll on many of the plants in the garden. One of the largest sunflowers I've had so far this year was toppled over. Lots of plants have lost leaves. They've been toppled over, but all we can do is just keep pressing on. So I've had a chance to add some things. Oh, there's my frog. Ooh, he scared me. Talk about drama in the garden. Y'all know I have snakes that are around sometimes. And my frog has been living apparently over here in front of my compost bin, and I did not see him, and I guess I stepped on his lair because there's nothing but wood chip over here. So he moved himself from where I put the new garden bed with the beans and cucumbers and everything, and he made a home over here. So I'm gonna have to be mindful the next time I come over here that he's living literally at my feet. He has hopped himself into the potato patch, so I just need to be careful. But yes, yeah, that was that had my heart going, y'all. I can't do snakes. Last year, those big old snakes, the snake was longer than my arm. So yeah, no, I can't do snakes. But that right there scared me. But now that I know that's my bullfrog, I'm not gonna worry about it. All right, let's get into this garden, shall we? I'm not after you, young man. I don't want you. I'm sorry. There is my bullfrog, everybody. I have two of them. That one is the smaller of the two. I don't know what happened to the bigger one. Maybe he actually have moved on, but I have two of them around here. So he's upset that I've disrupted him, and he's moved himself all the way down there, but he'll be back because there's lots and lots for him to eat. I don't know what was going on with my microphone right in this clip, but I was just basically showing you that due to all of the wind that we had in yesterday's tornado, I had to put up some twine to prop up the squash that's growing, as well as having to rearrange some of the beans, the corn, and having to pull out the dandelion. The dandelion was laying down so far that it was causing a lot of tension on the temporary structure I had put up for the beans. So it had to go. A little bit of the beans sustained a little bit of damage, but just a tiny bit. But that's pretty much what happens when you're dealing with Mother Nature. Things happen and you have to bounce back. Everything will be fine. This is nothing more than just a little bit of cleanup and a little bit of arrangement. So I do apologize for the microphone. I'm not sure what happened, but that's what's happening in this clip. Beans, my corn is beat up, but I'm not stressed over it like the last time. Just had to wrap my mind around it. So right now, I'm just trying to prop up. I wasn't ready to pull it out yet because I know there are beans growing inside of it. and I might damage those beans, but I'm going to try to do my best to kind of unwind them if I can see where they start, kind of get them out of the dandelion before I start tugging and tear beans out. I don't want to disrupt my beans too much. I've worked too hard trying to get beans to grow just to destroy them because the dandelion was so heavy that the wind took it away. So let me unravel these beans from this dandelion, and then I will be back to show you me trying to pull this dandelion out. So give me a minute. It took me a minute, but I got the dandelion out. There's a little bit of damage to the beans, but not so much that I'm really worried about it. I'm just trying to prop up some of the vines and see what's left after removing that huge dandelion. I even moved one of the cucumbers because it was trying to grow behind the fence, and I cannot have that because I can't reach it. I was able to get the huge dandelion out. It was a little bit disruptive, and there's a huge hole down there. I don't know how disruptive it was until some of the vines die off, but it didn't disturb all of the vines. So I'm just going to backfill some of that missing soil and let this go and see how it does, because it was really hard to get all of that dandelion out without disrupting this plant. And I was able to take that cucumber that was going up under the privacy fence and try to push it towards the front. This is going to change the dynamic of the area here because that dandelion was also sun coverage. So hopefully it doesn't disrupt too much, but we shall see. So that is the dandelion out. I found a few things in the garden that failed to thrive for one reason or another. And so I cleaned those pots out this morning, and I'm going to plant some flower seeds. I feel like I need some more flowers in the garden. This particular pot right here, I don't know if you remember from the previous video, I planted some bulbs from the Dollar Tree. They did not come up. These were the freesia, and I kind of had the feeling that when I planted them that they weren't any good and they weren't going to come up. So yeah, I am just going to repurpose this pot, as well as this one. I found this one in the elephant ear lane, and this was one of the exotic elephant ears that did not come back. So I've already repurposed the soil, gave it some fresh life, and now I'm going to put something else in it. I have, let's see, some marigold seeds. I desperately would love to have some marigold in the garden. These are saved seed from last year. These were like big old giant golden marigolds. So I'm hoping that these seeds are viable and that I can get some marigolds off of these seeds. I do know from experience that I have not been successful with purposefully trying to grow marigold. When I wasn't trying to grow marigold, I was able to get some to grow in my garden 2 houses ago. But when I am purposefully trying to grow marigold, I don't get any marigold. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to spread some of these seeds with some of the dried leaves. And I'm just going to cover it up with this soil. I just got a little bit of soil reserved over there in the corner. Just going to cover that up like so. give it a little pat like that. Then I'm going to take some of this vermiculite that I bought a couple weeks back in one of my haul videos. If you have not seen that, I recommend you take a look at that haul video. I promised I would use some of the stuff that I bought, and I have been purposefully using what I bought. So I'm just going to cover the top, just going to dust it with some vermiculite. That way it keeps the soil moist. And I'm going to set that over in the corner. I'm going to do the same thing with this pot right here. Like I said, I really love some marigolds in this garden. I don't have any. So let's see what I can do. All I can do is spread the seed and ask the Lord to do the rest. So I'm just grabbing some seed and I'm just going to spread it just like that and pray that I get some marigold seeds in this pot. Sprinkle some of this soil on top of those seeds like that. And I'm spreading a lot because I just don't know whether or not they will germinate. And if I get a lot, I will prick them out and redistribute them in the garden. All I can do is try. And I'm just pressing it down, just putting the soil on top. And then I am going to, again, now this soil has vermiculite in it. So I'm going to spread some vermiculite on the top, just like so, to keep it moist, to try to retard any unnecessary growth that could grow on top of that. And this soil is very moist, both of these are. I made sure that they were watered in really well, so I'm going to slide that off to the side, and I'm going to work on another pot. But first, I have to go grab it. This is my bay leaf. And so I would love to have some herbs, additional herb, growing in the bottom of this pot. I don't know whether or not I'll get any additional herbs growing in the bottom of this pot, but I'm going to give it a try. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of fertilizer in this pot because I do not remember when I last fertilized this pot. I think I fertilized it when I planted this bay leaf, but I'm not sure. So you all know, if you've watched any of my previous videos, that I take it down to the second digit and I work it in. I'm not trying to go too far into the soil because I do not want to disrupt any roots of what's already in the pot. So I'm just working it in like so. That way when it gets watered in, the fertilizer will flow down to the roots as well as catch any new roots from what I'm going to put into this pot. Now, let's see what I have over here. I know you all probably think I'm going to put some marigolds, but you will be wrong. I'm not going to put any more marigolds out. Maybe. All right. I found, can you guys see that? I found some chamomile, or chamomile, depending on where you're from. I found some chamomile seeds in my flower bucket, and I also picked up some chamomile from the little shop of seeds. I know it's hard for y'all to see that, so I do apologize, but I got some chamomile from the little shop of seeds. He's a YouTuber. I'm going to place these seeds instead of these in this pot. I would love to see chamomile grow along the base of this pot. So let's spread some chamomile, shall we? I am going to take off this heavy duty glove because these are really tiny little seeds. Very tiny. As a matter of fact, I'm going to move this soil back because I won't need to cover these seeds. This soil is pretty moist. It did storm here last night. There was a lot of water in the bottom of this pot. I did pour some of it off because I don't want it to have really wet roots. So there we go. Just fixing the soil back. I'm just gonna press it in a little bit, that way it's not too loose. All right, just cleaning up the edges. Trying to get as much soil inside that pot as possible. All right, taking my glove off. And then I'm gonna cast some of these little chamomile seeds to see if I get any chamomile. They are very, very tiny. When you have seeds this tiny, you don't need to cover it up with soil. You just drop it on top of the soil and let the soil, let it sink down in the soil once it gets watered. So I'm just gonna open up this package. It's my first time opening up the package. Let's see, make sure there's something sticky, that way my seeds don't stick when I'm trying to get them out. Come on. I mean, they are very fine seeds. The wind is blowing. I don't want the wind to blow them all over the place. Hope you guys can see that. So I am just going to broadly cast or widely cast these seeds like so. And I can kind of see them a little bit on the soil. Try not to get them up under my fingernail. I cut my nails down low during this time because I'm always playing around in the dirt. And I don't want to have everything up under my fingernail, but one never knows. Okay, I want to make sure that I don't have any seeds, and I do. See, when you have sticky stuff on your packets, your seeds could get stuck on that. Don't want to lose seeds. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to close that up and put this back inside of my plastic bag with my other burpee seeds. Now both of these are German chamomile seeds, or chamomile, depending on where you're from, how you pronounce it. And they can grow up 24 inches tall. Takes about 120 days to harvest, so it'll be a long while before we see any results, but I'm hoping to see a little something. So I'm going to also place this back over where I have my seedlings growing, and the other seeds that I planted just now, the chamomile seeds. And one last thing I think I'm going to do before I call it a night, because it is almost 7:45, is I think I'm going to, maybe two more things. I think I'm going to check and see if I have anything else that I need to harvest today. And I think I might do some propagation. It's not the right time to propagate, but I have an empty pot over here. And I want to try to see if I can get some propagation in. I just need to make sure that I keep it moist, keep it out of the sunlight, and I'll be putting some vermiculite on it to see if that'll help it out. So let me put this pot away, and I will be right back. All right, this is my white lavender. Got it last year from Burpee, and the very first shipment they sent me two. I ordered two of them. They both died. Sometimes during shipments, the weather is just not conducive for live plants, and they both died off. Then they replaced them. That's the one thing I truly like about Burpee, is that if something dies off, they are going to ship it back to you without a whole lot of, fuss and muss about, what happened, what you do, blah, blah, blah. So they shipped me two more plants. Those were very much alive. The soil was extremely dry, but I immediately soaked them and planted them up. But the second one that I had didn't survive the winter. So I'm going to try and propagate this, because I would really love to have more than one white lavender. Lavender has been an issue for me in the garden this year. For some reason, I always manage to have one lavender plant die off. My monster lavender, one of them died off. And it's the same soil, same lighting conditions, same water. And this one, it was slightly different but it wasn't that far away from each other and just died off. So I know again it's the wrong time to try to propagate, but I've got some little bits down here that I might be able to pull off. We'll see. All I can do is try. Propagation is new to me, so I'm just trying. I have my handy dandy fertilizer that I always put on everything. I'm just taking it and kind of reinvigorating this soil a little bit, just to make sure that there is something in here for the plant when it needs it. It feels like there's something in the pot. Yeah, a piece of wood. Check that out. Sometimes I find squirrel booty. The squirrels leave their bounty in the pots. And that could be one of the reasons why some of my things die off, because I do have squirrel damage. So I'm just going to cut some of these if I can find my shears. I know I had them here somewhere. They're all the way over there. That's okay. I have scissors. I'm going to see about snipping off a few pieces. I have my rooting hormone. You can use whatever you like. You don't necessarily have to use rooting hormone. I know there are other options for rooting. So I'm going to take this piece right here, and I'm going to cut it off down there. And from what I understand, you need to have a part of a wooded piece and like an old piece and part of a new growth piece. But I don't know. I've tried it that way. I've tried it with both new growth, and I just don't know what I am doing wrong. So I'm just going to cut the majority of this stem off. If you can see, that's a pretty long stem. I'm going to cut half of it off. And you know what? I'm just not prepared this afternoon. I don't know what's going on with my life. I'm going to dip it in the rooting hormone. I don't have my pencil that I normally use. I have my pencil. So I'm just going to make a hole. And I'm going to pop him in there like that and firm it down around the base. And I was pretty successful doing this a couple weeks back, but when I turn on my irrigation system, it's my fault. This pot got more water than it should have gotten. And so those beautiful little baby propagated pieces did not survive. They were not happy with me at all. So there's a lot of new growth on here. Lots and lots of new growth. And I'm trying to find something that I could sacrifice. So I think I'm going to stick with this back here as well. Do the same thing. I'm just clearing off some of the old leaves on the bottom. If you guys can see, I do apologize if my hand is in the way. I'm just trying to clear off some of the old leaves. I know you're not supposed to have a lot of leaves on it. That could cause it to die off because it's focusing on putting out leaves, putting out flowers. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this beautiful flower and I'm going to take it off. Just like that. Just like that. And I am going to trim the bottom a little bit. And I'm sure this is too long, but again, I'm learning propagation. I've never really done propagation before, so all of this is a learning experience for me. And all I need to do is get it right once, right? That's how I feel in my mind. All I need to do is get it right once. Then I know I did that. Alright, so I am going to continue doing a few more of these. trying to get some that have woody pieces versus all of the new growth. And once I get that done, I'll be ready. I have potted up my white lavender, and I want to say this is called Lady and Lace, Lacy Lady, something like that. I got it from burpee.com. I'm going to put the rest of that down there. Now what I'm going to do is, this soil was already moist, but I just wanted to make sure that I seeded in those clippings. So I'm going to take this plain old jug that had white vinegar in it. I cut the bottom off, and I am just going to gently try to sit it over the top of these seedlings without damaging them in any way. I just want to have a slight greenhouse effect just until they get rooted in. I don't want the sun beating down on them and causing more trouble than I need for it. But it's just barely sitting inside of the pot. It's not touching the new clippings at all. And so I'm going to shove this over to the side, and I may do some more of that monster lavender as well, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to see how successful this is before I attempt the monster. So I'm going to move this over to where I have all my clippings and my seedlings that I just planted, and I am going to move on to harvesting. I was trying to let this lettuce go to seed, but it has gotten battered. So I'm just going to see if I can clean it up a little bit and plant a few more seedlings. See if that will survive. This is leaning over. It's really battered. But I really would love to get some seed from this. And I will show you what this is in just a quick second. I mean, look how tired it looks. It's just leaning all over. I don't know if it's going to survive. What can you do, right? Mother Nature is Mother Nature, and nothing you can do about the destruction brought on by Mother Nature when it's that time. There's always a season. There's a season for everything. I'm just trying to firm it in a little bit. Maybe that's going to help it out some. I don't know. A little bit. It helped it out a little bit. Sitting up a little bit. So I'm just kind of roughing this up. I used to have some peas in this pot. I've got some peas right here, but I just clipped. I left the roots inside of the ground, the soil, because peas are good nitrogen fixers. So I'm going to put just a little bit, a handful of fertilizer in here, work it into the soil with my fingers, 2 digits down, a little bit over here as well. Just kind of work that in, trying not to undo what I just did with these poor little lettuces over here. All right, just work that in a little bit. And let me show you what I have here. Let's see. And I'm going to keep this under shade because I don't know whether or not this is going to do well in the heat. I don't think it will, but I'm just going to try. This is what I'm trying to grow again. I didn't even know this was even over here. I found it. I thought it had died off, and lo and behold, it sprouted up. So I was really surprised to see it. So I'm going to put a couple of these in here. And let me take this glove off because these are pretty small seeds as well. Not as small as the chamomile, but still very delicate seeds. And the wind is blowing, so I'm asking for trouble. Hope you guys can see that. Very delicate seeds. So I am just going to place a few of them in here in the hopes that I can get some lettuce. What I was doing was using this as a cut and come again, and it was really good. So I'm just going to put a couple in here, hoping that I get something out of it while I let those go to seed. All right, now if you're wondering why I didn't put anything over here, it's because I am going to also fill this pot with a few other items. Now the lettuce is for me. During the summertime when it's really hot, we get 100-degree weathers here. I mean, it's in triple digits for weeks on end. And during that time, I just find it hard to eat a hot meal. So I like to have all different types of salads. Cucumber salad, green salad, fruit salad. So that's why I like to have my salad. Now, if you watch my previous videos, you'll know about these right here. Now, I am going to put some of these in this pot for my family. I am not a cowpea eater. I'm not a fan of cowpeas in any way, shape, or form. I have tried for years to like cowpeas. My mouth can't do it. So I am no longer going to try to force myself to eat cowpeas. So I'm just putting a couple of peas in here. I'm going to push them down and see if they come up. And if they come up, great, then I will trellis it up to give them something to grow on. If they grow tall, I'm not really sure. This is my first time. I happen to see those peas. I don't know what store I was in. I think I was in Lowe's. Down to the second digit. I'm just pushing them down to the second digit, down to the second digit, down to the second digit. And I'm just covering it up, just like that. So I'm hoping that I get some lettuce for myself and some cowpeas for my family. So it is 12 after 8. As you can see, I had to turn the porch light on. It is getting dark, so I am going to call it a day. I'm going to put a little bit of water, even though this bucket already has water in it, and it has a reservoir at the bottom to hold water. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of water on top of these seeds. I'm going to put these onion pieces back in here because a lot of insects don't like onions, don't like the smell of onions, and that way if they smell onions, maybe they'll leave this pot alone. So that's going to be it for me today. I know I said I was going to do a harvest, but I am quickly losing light, and before the light is gone, I want to finish up my activities because as y'all saw, I got that big old bullfrog and the birds are out flying around. I'm starting to see some insects, so I have no idea what else will be coming out. When the water comes on, you can probably see the patio is wet. When the water comes on, things come out to get water, so I don't want to be out here. So I'll see you guys in my next video. I hope you enjoyed today. Sorry, it might have been a bit long. There was a lot of activity for me to do. Still, I have things yet to do. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.